We have one final week in which I'm taking questions that emerged out of the Afterlife series: eternity, death, judgment, resurrection, heaven, and hell. This week, the question today, the question I'm taking up is the question: why does sin lead to death? Which is, it was an interesting question. I'd not thought of it in quite that way. Why does sin lead to death? So, look, this whole Afterlife series is sort of based on this idea that sin does lead to death, which necessitates a resurrection and a rescue, and you've got judgment. All these things sort of pivot around this idea that the wages of sin is death. Why is that? Why might it not have been something else? So, thinking about this, I think the first thing to do is to just understand that the Bible has a number of different terms that it uses for sin. At one end, you've got just sort of mistakes that get made out of ignorance. Those are not that significant. Just we're sort of out of touch with reality because of our finitude or something else, and we do something that is wrong, and there's repercussions from that, right? I mean, but they're not severe. And then you start to march and you see that there's different levels of sin. So one of the terms that gets used for sin, hamartia in the Greek, it's an archery term. If you're standing here and the target's here and it lands here, then the distance between where it landed and the target is called sin. In some cases, it's pretty obvious that the target's here and we're shooting here. Like, we're not even shooting for the target. We have made an idol of something else. We have replaced God and the whole direction that we're supposed to be headed, and are heading in a different path. Another word that is used for sin is the word transgression, and this is sort of a deliberate stepping across the boundary. We know that what we're doing is going into a place that we're not supposed to. You also see the word rebellion, which of course is largely what we get in the early chapters of Genesis, that there is a deliberate, there is a I know what I'm not supposed to do and I'm going to do it, even though I've been told very specifically that I'm not supposed to do it. And then we just have got maybe another term that would just sort of be perversion. I'm going to take good and I'm going to deliberately contort it and abuse it and misuse it. So, I mean, hopefully from that you understand that there's gradations of sin, but you also see that basically sin is going against the grain of the moral universe. It is a violation of God's good order. And I guess the thing that I would say is, why does this cause death? Why does it lead to death? I mean, part of me wants to say a lot of the actions, the repercussions of the actions we take will lead to death. And that's part of the reason why God says, don't go there, right? I made you, I know how this is going to work. If you head down that path, you are eventually going to regret it. It may take you a long time to figure out you're on the wrong path, but that path leads to death. But I think theologically I'd frame it a little bit differently, and that is to say that sin separates us from God, and God is the life giver. So when we get cut off from our source, right, death is coming. And so sin is an offense to God. It is a rebellion. It is an assertion that we're better than God. We cut ourselves off from God, who is holy. And when that spiritual death happens, death is going to follow. So, the wages of sin is death. That's what the Bible tells us. And it's true. It's unfortunate, but it's true. There is a provision, and that provision is Jesus. We can gain eternal life, not eternal death, through Christ. Have a good day.